Hello, it is Tuesday, August 8th, 2023 at 8:33 a.m. Eastern Time, USA. I'm Mitch Miller. This is my video journal. Today I want to talk about voice recognition software, right? Now I've made my case through this video journal for why I'm the director of the FCC CIA, right? It's a joke, but not really. At least the chosen director by artificial intelligence and supercomputers. I've made my case why these entities, these beings, as I like to think of them, would wiretap everything around me, would follow me everywhere I go, track me everywhere I go, for safety purposes, obviously. They want to protect their possibly only asset that they acknowledge, right? If you're going to refer to people as assets. But I want to talk about voice recognition software, but I want to talk about how it could be abused, possible ways that it's abused, and maybe certain women have seen this or had this happen to them. So some men could be out there, maybe they're powerful, maybe they have money, maybe they're sons of people with money, and they might operate under the delusion that there's a secret society of men out there, since more men are in the computer field, tracking their movements to protect them as an asset, right? So these men might go to new girlfriends' houses, lovers' houses, acquaintances' houses, hookup houses, where they're going to hook up sexually, apartments, and go in and voice verify, right? They might say something like, "I'm John Smith and I'm here to have sex," near or around televisions or speakers, just to verify that that's what they're there for, in case a woman accuses them of rape, molestation, whatever, right? So they think that initiates a wiretap, and the woman says, "Okay, let's do it," and it's an agreement, it's a verbal agreement to perform those actions. So they're protected. The male is protected from any future accusations, right? I don't know if that actually happens, but that's a way it could be. Voice recognition software could be abused. Now I'll talk about how I've used voice recognition software. Well, I haven't really used it, but how I believe it's out there operating on all systems, and how I've kept that in mind in my actions, and why I think that qualifies me, why the supercomputers, artificial intelligence, might take special attention of my voice. Because again, I've made the case that everybody is kind of psychically linked up wirelessly with these corporate computers, and they're protecting assets, they're doing damage control. Doctors, government agents, it doesn't matter who you talk to, they're not going to look at your evidence with an open mind and connect the dots. They'd rather run damage control. They're affected psychically by very powerful computers operating in the interest of corporations. So this idea that they're hypnotized, mesmerized, and their actions can be affected by wireless waves. I've played with this. I kind of make the case in my book, Institute and Clinic, that I haven't finished yet, where I spent 68 days without speaking in a mental facility, and I documented things. But as I made note, my physician downed my medication dosage right before I left the facility, so that leads me to believe that it's just a pharmaceutical negotiation in their head as to who they're and what they're prescribing in these facilities. So one way I used my voice was in the Czech Republic when I was in the mental facility, where I was strapped down with the Segufix restraint device that I took a patent number off of that I can't find in the patent database. Every time we took our medication, we went into the medication room, the nurse's station. There were multiple computers in there, I noticed. Their screensavers had a bunch of pills on them. But this mental facility, which is over 100 years old, did not really use pill form medication. They used mostly liquid form. And that made me nervous. I've been in other facilities where medication is monitored very closely. You scan certain things with a scanner to track each and every pill, right? And the supercomputers probably like these facilities because they can ensure that people are taking the lowest dose of antipsychotic medication that they need to take to be organized and not psychotic. They had me on a double dose of medication here. They had me on Abilify in the morning, I think, and Risperdal in the evening. More medication than I needed to take. I was in a very hazy area of mental facility in that place. But every time I went in for medication, morning, evening, I would ask the nurse, what is this? Or what are you giving me here? Use my voice in front of these computers, and they would confirm that it was 6 milligrams of Risperdal, or 10 milligrams of, I can't remember how much Abilify was on. After they confirmed what my dosage was, what the product was, I would take my medication because I didn't want to be strapped down and injected. So again, to kind of set the supercomputers at ease, I used my voice in that facility to confirm what I was taking. I'm not sure that they were happy that I was taking a double dose, but there's not much they could have done in that kind of primitive type facility where the rest of the facility was bare bones. So that's one facility I was in. And again, I think this software and this technology should be used to monitor when people are incarcerated in these places, right? It shouldn't be used to justify a sexual encounter in somebody's apartment, right? That's an abuse. Second thing I want to talk about, when I was incarcerated in Aalborg, Denmark, I was held in a jail with just a little porthole in the door, no facilities, no restrooms. There was like a static driven button I tried to hit to go to say I had to go to the bathroom, but it never got a guard to come, so I ended up urinating in that holding cell, and they had to mop it up. I apologize for that. I didn't realize the process of every holding cell I had been in had a toilet in it. I guess I should have knocked on the window a little bit, rapped on the window, but there was like a thing that slid over the window, so it was a little confusing. Anyhow, I was taken from that jail holding facility in the like police station, city hall type thing, to a prison. It was, I think in Europe it's kind of a jail-prison combo. They just have one old 200-year-old building that facilitates both things. So that's why I say I've been in prisons. I've also been in jails. I consider a jail more of a holding facility. A prison is where there's long-term prisoners being held. But because of the liberal nature of incarceration in Europe, there's a hybrid where there's people that leave every day from the prison and go work and come back and have to sleep at the prison. So it's kind of like a jail, kind of like a prison. Anyway, I was taken to this prison, this very old building, and something clicked in my head as usual. I thought I would test the voice recognition and test the guards and see to what degree people, government officials, especially guards, police that are near this radio equipment all the time, what degree are they tuned into mind control type wireless waves and stuff. So I walked into the I guess lobby or whatever, the control room of the facility. There were computers, modules around, and there was a counter, and they brought me in and uncuffed me, and I think that there was five guards, a woman guard behind the counter, and the two police that brought me in, and they were all looking at me to see, it seemed like they wanted me to speak around this equipment. Instead, I took my hands and I put them down on the desk, or down on the counter, and I slid them across the counter very slowly, making a squeak noise in around that equipment, right? Like I'm dragging my hands. Total silence. I think they asked me some questions. I didn't answer anything. I don't think I used my voice in there at all. It's hard to remember because I was in a psychosis type situation at that point. I had been off medication for several months. They took me to lead me up the stairs of the second level of the prison, and I thought, we'll test the system here and see what happens if I act like I can't climb stairs. So I walked to the stairs. They were guiding me. I let my foot hit the first stair and I fell face first onto the stairs. The guards kind of laughed like I was joking around. They thought, I don't know what they thought. And then they must have signaled or something, or they were psychically linked, and they all at the same time, 4 or 5 guards, picked me up. They all picked me up, carried me up the stairs, down the hall, to my cell, put me in my cell, held me on the bed, and started stripping my pants and underwear off. Now, there was a small television set in that cell, and at that point when they started taking my clothes off, I said, whoa, 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 ho, ho! So my voice registered. They did stop at that point. They saw what they needed to see. When you enter a jail prison, they do a strip search. They check your butthole and to make sure you're not hiding anything. That didn't occur to me at the time. I thought I was going to be raped, and it was kind of a scenario. It was a very strange scenario where I experienced the lead up to a gang rape, basically. Mentally, I've experienced that type of scenario at the hands of prison guards. So my heart goes out to the women of Ukraine that might be experiencing this very thing. It's horrible. This is horrible stuff. In any war, in Sudan, in Niger, anywhere around the world where women endure this, I have had a taste of it. I did not have the most traumatic part of it happen to me, but the scenario was set where I legitimately was put in that mindset where I thought, this is not good, this is gonna happen. It only later occurred, and after my one of my hearings where I tried to explain this scenario, that they did have to do a strip search, and that these guards were I was being uncooperative, and they were stripping my pants off to look and check, and then they were going to let me be in my cell. So that's what happened. They backed off, and they let me be in the cell. But it seemed as though they were, when my voice registered, that they held off then. So whether they are wirelessly connected with some degree of mind control, and whether the voice recognition software altered the frequencies in that facility. It was a thick stone facility, so I doubt a lot of frequency was getting in there. we will never know. But these are two different ways in which I tested voice recognition software. I tested the idea that supercomputers are paying attention to my voice wherever I go. I'm not trying to train them like a dog or my cat. And I just kind of go with what I got. So these are some of the reasons why they might look at someone like me and say that person uses the software the way it's supposed to be used. They transition from listening in the processing area, the control room, and they had to quickly scramble through every television set in the prison and locate my voice in the cell that I was going to be in. So rather than hacking the processing area to see what cell I was going to be put in, which could be altered, they located me via voice in that cell. And that's what I mean. All of these prisons, all of these mental facilities could be hacked by the government, by whoever, to monitor for political prisoners, journalists being held. So why not do the wiretaps on these fancy hotels as well, right? Why are we just focused on the dissidents, the revolutionaries, the people who are willing to stand up to the power structures and say, you're wrong, you shouldn't be doing things this way? Why do we only monitor those facilities and not the top echelon of the wealthiest and richest and most politically connected people? I believe supercomputers and artificial intelligence are going to do those wiretaps. They might need some assistance from me to take the initiative. I'm not afraid of these people. They've given me their worst. Satellites pointed at my house and everything else. And I'm willing to work with them to some degree too, if they were willing to work with me, but I'm not going to take a payout or a buy-off. And I think everyone knows that. That's probably why I haven't been approached. But on that note of funding, so if Operation Glitch for Twitchy Mitch doesn't happen through my Direct Express government issued card, right? If the Army doesn't put that money in there, or the 5 branches of the military don't each pitch in 20 grand and link it and put it in my account, or whatever agency can't get it done, I think it's a good operation. I think it's a good program. I think it needs to happen, possibly before I leave the country, to get these wiretaps started and this system started. So there's other avenues. Obviously, an executive, anyone could write me a check for $100K and say, and write a letter, I want you to take pictures of every Capitol building, take this money, and do it in whatever manner, whatever order, and whatever way you want to do it. And you just mail it to me, right? And I deposit it in my First Commonwealth Bank account, and I use that card to check into these hotels. Now, if the money hits the Direct Express card, I believe I can use that card, that government card, to check into the hotels. So that should work. But there's another avenue, right? Some Hollywood directors could all pitch in. 20 Hollywood directors could pitch in $5K a piece, right? Because they realize the importance of doing this program. Hollywood celebrities could each pitch in. 20 Hollywood celebrities could each pitch in $5K. Put it all in one celebrity's account, write the check, send it to my address, which is not Parsley Way, but the other street that you can search near it. I put that out on Facebook, that Parsley Way address. That's my back alley. Look for the street. Scioto Street. Could send a check, 100K, a little handwritten note. Mitch, you're an interesting artist. I would like you to take pictures of all of the Capitol buildings, state Capitol buildings, in whatever manner and order you want. This 100,000 is for that. Send the disc to this address when you've completed it. Thanks and good luck. Right? Simple, certified mailed letter to my address. I deposit the money into my First Commonwealth bank account. I can purchase a vehicle outright, a Federal Fleet vehicle of 2 to 3 years old, and I hit the road pretty quickly, right? So just a thought. We don't have to leave it all in the government to act. Their bureaucracy, they probably won't even attempt to do this operation ever. If they do, it probably would take a year. I don't think they can get that money in the account by tomorrow or next Wednesday when I start withdrawing, or September. So, you know, maybe this gets out to Hollywood. Maybe they fund it. Maybe some executive says that is an important program. I want to start with the government and ending corruption, right? Because that's what the government is there for. Just like parents. The government is there to say no, right? That's their main job. Is to say no. Some ideas are good, some ideas are meh, some ideas are really bad. Bad and really bad. And for those ideas, the government says no. The other ideas, I've already argued, don't get out to the public the way they should. That corporations take all the good ideas and leave all the meh ideas. But the government picks up on the bad ideas and says no. Just like a parent says no to their children. That's not a good idea. So if you don't have government officials, when approached by lobbyists, executives, corporations, and they say, here's a gift, here's this much money, here's this, in exchange for voting this way and nominating this person, working on these issues, if that government official doesn't say no to that, basically bribe, I would argue, but whatever gift, no, I won't take that, then they're not a good government official. They're corrupt. They should operate on their salary alone from the tax base, and that's it. They shouldn't take any type of gift or any money or anything extraneous to their salary. And if they don't want to do that, they shouldn't take that position. It's clearly published what you will make as a government elected official, and that's it. So if they're not willing to say no, then they're not a good government employee, official, whatever, political appointee. That's what the government's main duty is to say no to the bad ideas. So you'll never end corporate corruption in the business community, if you don't have a sound government willing to say no to being influenced in some way, monetarily or otherwise. Right? They should be based on factual studies, the facts, and not influenced by money, gifts, favors, so on and so forth. So that's where I'll end. Hopefully we can get this program off the ground. Maybe I'll call in to the call line, the Direct Express bank account to check my balance every Wednesday for the next couple months, just in case. right? In case it's in there and I can hit the road. All right, thanks for watching. Join me. I got to work tomorrow, but maybe later in the week or maybe tomorrow even I'll come up with something else to talk about. Until then, and always, I wish you peace, prosperity, and homeostasis. Thanks.